This isn't just another night of baseball. This is the tipping point of the summer. August is here, and the playoff pressure is suffocating. Every pitch means something now. Every at-bat is a gamble. And every matchup is a battlefield. Whether it's Cy Young contenders tightening their grip or underdogs refusing to die quietly, tonight's slate is loaded with high-stakes drama. The Dodgers and Rays, two titans with October dreams, go head-to-head in what feels like a postseason dress rehearsal. The Cubs are charging behind their pitching resurgence, but can they handle the Orioles' relentless offense? The Royals are one of the hottest teams in baseball, and Toronto walks into a hornet's nest in Kansas City. And that's just the start. From the unpredictable Rockies versus Pirates clash to Phillies versus Tigers grindhouse baseball, from Brewers versus Nationals tactical warfare to a Fenway firestorm between the Astros and Red Sox, this is edge-of-your-seat baseball. And if you think it's just about who wins or loses, you're watching the game wrong. Because this isn't just baseball. This is business. Today, we break down every edge, every bet, every angle that the books don't want you to see. Strikeout props, home run bombs, same-game parlays, team totals, this is where you arm yourself. We're not guessing. We're not reacting. We're attacking. Pitcher matchups, bullpen usage, weather factors, umpire tendencies, momentum trends, nothing escapes the radar. Game 1 Tampa Bay Rays vs. Los Angeles Dodgers. The Tampa Bay Rays face off against the Los Angeles Dodgers in a star-studded interleague matchup at Dodger Stadium, and there's plenty to dissect in this heavyweight clash between two playoff-caliber clubs. The Rays enter this game still trying to rediscover the dominant form they showcased last season. They've been hovering around .500 for most of the year, struggling to get consistency from both the rotation and the lineup. Their pitching staff, which had traditionally been a strength, has been hampered by injuries and underperformance, and they're trying to lean on younger arms while the offense looks to carry the load. On the other side, the Dodgers are once again among the elite in the National League. They're dominating the NL West, flexing their muscle behind a deep rotation, elite bullpen, and a star-studded lineup featuring names like Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Will Smith. There's a noticeable difference in offensive production when you compare these two teams, and playing at Chavez Ravine gives the Dodgers an additional edge. The expected pitching matchup in this one should feature Tyler Glasnow for the Rays and Bobby Miller for the Dodgers, and this duel offers plenty of intrigue. Glasnow has electric stuff when he's healthy, with a fastball that can touch triple digits and a wipeout curveball. However, durability has always been the question mark. When he's on, he's one of the most dominant starters in the American League, but inconsistency and bouts of wildness have plagued him this season. He's sporting a mid-threes era but with a whip hovering around 1.20 and a high strikeout rate, the upside remains massive. The problem for Glasnow will be navigating a Dodgers lineup that feasts on mistakes and punishes pitchers who fall behind in the count. Betts and Freeman are disciplined hitters who can work deep into at-bats, and Ohtani's power makes him a nightmare with runners on base. Miller, meanwhile, has looked much more comfortable in his second full season in the majors. His command has improved, and he's getting ahead of hitters more consistently. His ERA is sitting in the low threes, and his strikeout-to-walk ratio is solid. The Rays' offense has struggled against right-handed pitching this season, ranking in the bottom third in ops and batting average, which bodes well for Miller's outlook. One of the key differences in this game could come down to bullpen execution. The Dodgers' bullpen, anchored by closer Evan Phillips and setup man Brusdar Graterol, has been among the best in baseball in terms of ERA and whip. They don't walk many hitters and consistently throw strikes late in games. The Rays, traditionally known for their bullpen depth, have had a more up-and-down year in the pen. Pete Fairbanks hasn't been as sharp, and Jason Adam has had stretches of inconsistency. If Glasnow can't give them 6 strong innings, things could unravel quickly. Offensively, the Dodgers rank top 5 in most major statistical categories: runs per game, slugging, ops, and isolated power. They're balanced from both sides of the plate and show patience that wears down starters. The Rays, by contrast, are more reliant on streaky bats. Isaac Paredes leads the team in home runs, while Yandy Diaz and Randy Arozarena have failed to live up to expectations in stretches this season. Jose Siri provides some pop, but his high strikeout rate makes him a boom or bust player. Against a sharp Dodgers staff, that kind of inconsistency could spell trouble. When we look at the park factor, Dodger Stadium remains a neutral venue that slightly favors power hitters. The warm August air in LA tends to carry fly balls a bit more, and with both teams possessing solid power potential, the over might be worth considering, especially with bullpens playing a significant role late. However, given Glasnow and Miller's upside, a low-scoring start wouldn't be surprising, especially through the first 5 innings. Betting markets will likely install the Dodgers as moderate home favorites, around -150 to -160, with the total hovering near 8.5 or 9. Given Miller's consistency, the potent Dodgers offense, and the Rays' recent inconsistency against top-tier teams, the edge clearly leans toward Los Angeles in this spot. From a betting perspective, the Dodgers on the moneyline feels like the safest play, and if the line gets too steep, consider pairing it in a parlay or moving to the -1.5 run line for better value. For props, Freddie Freeman has been red hot and matches up well against Glasnow's fastball-heavy approach. A total bases prop or hit plus run plus RBI prop on Freeman could yield good returns. On the Rays' side, Brandon Lowe might be a decent long shot to hit a homer, especially if he gets a favorable pitch in a hitter's count. Pitching-wise, Bobby Miller's strikeout prop should be worth targeting. The Rays strike out a lot versus high-velocity pitchers, and Miller could clear 6+ Ks if he gets deep into the game. Conversely, Glasnow may be in line for 7+ Ks himself, but the risk is higher due to the contact-heavy nature of the Dodgers lineup and his command struggles. If you're building an SGP, same-game parlay, consider this path. Dodgers ML, Bobby Miller 6+ strikeouts, Freddie Freeman to record 2+ total bases, and under 5 runs in the first 5 innings. That would combine value with probability and give you some breathing room in what's projected to be a close game early with the Dodgers pulling away late. In terms of final score prediction, this feels like a 5-2 type of game favoring Los Angeles. Expect the Dodgers to grind out early at bats, work Glasnow out of the game by the 6th, and capitalize on Tampa Bay's bullpen. Meanwhile, the Rays might scrape together a few runs early but struggle to find consistent production against Miller and the back end of Law's bullpen. The bottom line is this: the Dodgers are rolling, their bats are locked in, and their bullpen is trustworthy. Tampa Bay, while dangerous, hasn't shown the level of consistency needed to pull off an upset on the road against a team this complete. The value lies with LA, and unless Glasnow completely shuts the door for 7 innings, the edge in every phase belongs to the Dodgers. It's not just a lean, it's a confident pick. Take the Dodgers and trust their machine-like efficiency to continue rolling through August. Game 2. Chicago Cubs vs. Baltimore Orioles. The battle between the Chicago Cubs and the Baltimore Orioles is set to unfold in what promises to be a compelling interleague matchup at Camden Yards. Both teams are navigating critical junctures in their seasons, and while the Cubs are striving to maintain relevance in the competitive NL Central, the Orioles are continuing to assert dominance in the American League with their explosive lineup and deep bullpen. The storylines are stacked, and the betting angles for this game are rich with value. This isn't just a typical weekday game, it's one of the most intriguing matchups on the entire MLB slate. Let's begin by setting the scene with the pitching matchup. The Cubs are expected to send left-hander Justin Steele to the mound. Steele, who finished 5th in Cy Young voting last season, has been gradually regaining his rhythm after an injury-plagued start to 2025. In his last 5 outings, Steele has posted a 2.89 ERA with a whip of just 1.02, showing command of his cutter and slider, especially against right-handed batters. Steele's ability to induce weak contact and avoid the heart of the plate is key to slowing down Baltimore's relentless offense. However, Camden Yards isn't the easiest park to navigate, especially against a team that feasts on mistakes. Across from him will be Orioles right-hander Grayson Rodriguez, who has evolved into one of the more dangerous arms in the American League. Rodriguez is 10-4 with a 3.35 ERA this season and has really excelled at home, where opponents are batting just .212 against him. His fastball sits in the high 90s, and the Orioles coaching staff has worked with him to increase his usage of the curveball and splitter, especially in 2-strike counts. The Cubs have a roster that struggles with high-velocity arms, and Rodriguez could be in line for a high strikeout performance if he's able to get ahead in counts early. The Cubs' offense is particularly vulnerable to swinging over breaking balls, which plays right into Rodriguez's expanding arsenal. Offensively, the Orioles are led by a group that ranks in the top 5 in MLB in slugging, ops, and home runs. Gunnar Henderson has emerged as a legitimate MVP candidate, and his ability to handle left-handed pitching makes him a threat to Steele, especially if Steele leaves anything up in the zone. Anthony Santander and Adley Rutzman add thump from both sides of the plate, while Colton Cowser has provided a surprising spark at the bottom of the lineup. The Orioles can beat teams in different ways, through the long ball, stringing together hits, and even aggressive base running. They're one of the few teams that can put up crooked numbers in any inning regardless of where they are in the order. The Cubs' offense, on the other hand, has been inconsistent all year. Cody Bellinger has carried the team at times, and Christopher Morel continues to be a valuable source of power, but Chicago struggles mightily when it comes to timely hitting. The middle of the lineup has a tendency to strike out in big moments, and that could spell trouble against Rodriguez, who has improved at stranding runners. One area where the Cubs might find a window of opportunity is the first time through the order. Rodriguez occasionally struggles with command early in games. If Nico Horner or Ian Happ can get on base early and apply pressure, Chicago may be able to steal a run or two before the Orioles settle in. Bullpen analysis is another critical aspect of this game, and it's where Baltimore has a clear edge. The Orioles' bullpen has been elite this season, thanks in large part to closer Craig Kimbrell, who has re-established himself with a 2.01 ERA and a 13.5 K9. Set-up men like Yennier Cano and Keegan Akin give the Orioles multiple high-leverage options, and manager Brandon Hyde hasn't been afraid to use his bullpen aggressively when his starters run into trouble. The Cubs' bullpen, in contrast, is one of the most volatile in baseball. Mark Leiter Jr. and Adbert Alzolay have been serviceable, but the middle innings have been a nightmare for Chicago, with walks and inherited runners consistently becoming an issue. From a betting standpoint, the moneyline heavily favors the Orioles at home, and it's hard to argue with the logic. Baltimore has been dominant at Camden Yards, boasting a 33-19 home record this season. The Cubs, meanwhile, have struggled on the road, and their lack of offensive firepower against right-handed pitching is concerning. If you're looking at the run line, the Orioles minus 1.5 is in play, especially given the disparity in bullpen depth and late-inning performance. Baltimore has covered the run line in 62% of home wins this year, and given Rodriguez's recent form, it's reasonable to expect the Cubs may not score enough to keep this within one. For totals bettors, the over-under line is hovering around 8.5 runs, and this is where it gets tricky. On one hand, the Orioles can score in bunches, and their bats at home are electric. But on the other hand, Steele is capable of navigating tough lineups, and if he's on, this could stay under. The weather forecast shows warm and humid conditions, which typically favors the hitters, and that's enough of a reason to lean slightly toward the over, especially considering the possibility of Baltimore doing the heavy lifting in the scoring department. As for player props, Grayson Rodriguez over 6.5 strikeouts is a solid angle. The Cubs rank in the bottom third of the league in strikeout rate versus right-handed pitching, and Rodriguez has cleared that mark in 4 of his last 5 starts. On the offensive side, Gunnar Henderson to hit a home run carries strong value. He's been red-hot and matches up well against Steele's cutter. Another sneaky prop is Colton Cowser over 1.5 total bases, especially with his rising barrel rate and ability to go gap-to-gap against lefties. If you're looking for same-game parlay options, a solid 3-leg combination would be Orioles moneyline, Gunnar Henderson to record a hit, and Grayson Rodriguez over 5.5 strikeouts. That parlay brings decent plus money value and correlates well if you're projecting a strong Orioles showing. For those seeking a long shot, adding in an Adley Rutschman RBI could boost the payout significantly. The final score prediction for this one sees the Orioles coming out on top by a score of 6-2. With Rodriguez dealing, the Orioles lineup clicking, and the Cubs' bullpen issues looming large, this looks like another home win for Baltimore as they continue their push toward October. The Cubs may find an opportunity or two early, but over 9 innings, the talent gap and execution will favor the Orioles. Game 3 Toronto Blue Jays vs Kansas City Royals. The Toronto Blue Jays head into Kauffman Stadium to take on the Kansas City Royals in a game that's far more than just a mid-season interleague clash. These are two teams in very different positions in the standings, but each has something urgent to prove. The Blue Jays are a team trying to stay afloat in the highly competitive AL East, while the Royals, surprisingly one of the most consistent overperformers of the 2025 season, continue to push for playoff relevance in the AL Central. This matchup is a compelling contrast of veteran talent against young, explosive upstarts. The Jays bring a core led by Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and George Springer, while the Royals are riding the electric energy of Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, and Salvador Perez, who's had a resurgence behind the plate and at the plate. Probable starters point to a fascinating pitching matchup, as the Blue Jays are expected to send right-hander Kevin Gausman to the mound. Gausman, even at 34, remains a strikeout-heavy pitcher with a devastating splitter. In 20 starts this season, he's 9-6 with a 3.51 ERA, a 1.13 WHIP, and 145 strikeouts over 118 innings. His recent outings have seen a return to form. He's struck out 9+ batters in 3 of his last 4 starts and given up just 5 total earned runs in that span. He matches up against Kansas City's lefty Cole Ragans, who has become the Royals' ace. Ragans is 10-5 with a 3.06 ERA, 1.14 WHIP, and 153 strikeouts in 129 innings. He's got a filthy changeup and has neutralized right-handed hitters all season. In July, Ragans held opponents to a .217 average and had a 2.28 ERA. This pitching duel might make runs scarce early, but once the bullpens get involved, we may see some late fireworks, especially considering both teams' relievers rank in the bottom third in save conversions and ERA after the 7th inning. Looking at offensive trends, the Blue Jays are starting to come alive after a rough June. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is hitting .327 over his last 15 games with 5 home runs and 14 RBIs. Bo Bichette is also heating up, with a .289 average in July and a 6-game hitting streak. Springer continues to be an X-factor, drawing walks and providing clutch hits, even if his power has dipped. Toronto averages 4.4 runs per game on the road, but what stands out is their improvement against left-handed pitching. Since the All-Star break, the Jays rank top 5 in the AL in ops versus southpaws, slugging over .430 as a team. That could be significant against Ragans if they can elevate pitches early and work the count. Meanwhile, Kansas City boasts one of the most balanced top-to-bottom offenses in baseball. Bobby Witt Jr. has been spectacular. He's hitting .310 with 20 hours and 32 stolen bases. Pasquantino has 17 bombs and a .362 OBP, while Michael Garcia and MJ Melendez are delivering timely doubles and sac flies. The Royals are especially dangerous at home, scoring 5.1 runs per game at Kauffman Stadium and going 11-3 in their last 14 home contests. Let's talk betting angles. The moneyline currently favors the Blue Jays at around -115, with the Royals sitting close to even money at +105. The total is set at 8.5 runs, which makes sense given the strength of the starting pitchers but the volatility of the bullpens. The under has cashed in 6 of Gausman's last 8 starts, and Ragans has seen the under hit in 7 of his last 10. That said, with the total at 8.5 and potential bullpen chaos after the 6th inning, sharp bettors are waiting for live in-game lines to find better total value. On the run line, the Blue Jays -1.5 sits at +140, while the Royals +1.5 is juiced around -160. If you're expecting a close game with a late-inning decider, the safer angle might be Royals +1.5 with confidence in Ragans keeping things tight. As for player props, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to hit a home run is listed around +360. He's slugging over .600 in his last 10 games and has homered in back-to-back contests. Bobby Witt Jr. also has decent value at +420 to go deep, particularly with Gausman occasionally leaving fastballs up. One sneaky play is Vinny Pasquantino over 1.5 total bases at +125. He's quietly been mashing against right-handers and should see favorable matchups. Strikeout props are also intriguing. Gausman's line is set at 7.5, and he's eclipsed that mark in 5 of his last 7 outings. Ragans is set at 6.5 strikeouts, which might be a bit low. He's had 7+ in 4 of his last 5 appearances and could carve through a Jays lineup that strikes out 23.2% of the time. A sharp SGP, same-game parlay, build could look like this. Kevin Gausman 7+ strikeouts, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to record a hit, and Bobby Witt Jr. over 1.5 total bases. That pays around +475 depending on the book. For a spicier version, add Guerrero to hit a home run or Witt to steal a base and push that number over +1000. Another parlay option. Blue Jays moneyline +under 8.5 plus Pasquantino to record a hit, which pays out in the +500 to +600 range. Bettors looking for alt lines may find value in live betting the Royals if they trail early. They've come from behind in 12 of their 54 wins this season. In terms of final score prediction, expect this game to be tightly contested for the first 6 innings, with both starters keeping offenses honest. However, Toronto's depth and clutch hitting could push them over the edge late in the game, especially against the Royals bullpen that has blown 8 saves in the past 30 days. Look for a 5-3 win for the Blue Jays, with Vlad Jr. and Bichette combining for 4 hits, and Gausman striking out 8 over 6 innings. If the Royals are to win, it'll come from timely power by Witt and bullpen lockdowns, but that feels slightly less likely with how hot the Jays' bats have been over the last week. Game 4 Colorado Rockies and Pittsburgh Pirates. The Colorado Rockies and Pittsburgh Pirates clash in Game 4 of their series, and while this may not be the most high-profile matchup on the MLB calendar, there's sneaky betting value hiding beneath the surface. The Pirates have dominated the head-to-head series lately, and as they continue to push toward relevance in the NL wild-card race, every win counts. The Rockies, on the other hand, are clearly in a rebuild phase, showing signs of offensive life but struggling mightily with pitching depth and bullpen reliability. First, we need to take a look at the starting pitching, which shapes a lot of the angles here. For the Pirates, rookie sensation Paul Skeens is expected to get the ball, and if he's anywhere close to the form he's shown recently, Colorado is in trouble. Skeens has made 10 starts in 2025 and already racked up 78 strikeouts in just 58 innings, with a 2.43 ERA and a whip below 1.00. His fastball velocity sits around 99 miles per hour and his wipeout splitter has opposing hitters batting just .163. At home in PNC Park, he's even tougher, allowing only 2 earned runs in his last 18 innings pitched there. The Rockies are one of the worst road offenses in MLB, hitting just .223 with 8.289 OBP on the road. They're bottom 3 in ops outside of Coors Field and strike out at a 26% clip away from home, which plays perfectly into Skeens' strikeout upside. On the flip side, the Rockies send out right-hander Dakota Hudson, who has labored through 2025 with a 5.98 ERA and a 1.66 whip in 20 starts. He doesn't miss bats. His strikeout rate is under 13%, which is near the bottom of all qualified starters, and he struggles with command, often getting into high pitch counts early. Against a Pirates team that has shown more patience at the plate this season, Hudson is vulnerable to early damage and could be chased by the 4th inning. The Pirates rank 9th in runs scored in the first 5 innings over the past 30 games and have become more aggressive in ambushing fastballs early in the count. Bryan Reynolds and O'Neill Cruz have carried the middle of the order recently, and both are strong targets in the prop markets. Reynolds is hitting .333 over his last 15 games with 4 home runs, and Cruz has hit safely in 10 of his last 12 while slugging .590 against right-handers in that span. If you're looking at home run props, O'Neill Cruz stands out as a solid plus money candidate. Hudson has allowed 12 home runs in his last 9 starts, and lefties have slugged .505 against him. Cruz is plus 500 to go deep, and that's serious value given the matchup and conditions. Bryan Reynolds is another good look at plus 460. He's a switch hitter who thrives from the left side and has 3 home runs in his last 6 games. If you're leaning toward total bases props, Cruz over 1.5 total bases is priced at plus 130 and Reynolds at plus 125, both solid plus money plays considering the weak arm Hudson brings to the mound. In the strikeout market, Paul Skeens is priced at over 7.5 kiloseconds at plus 105, and that's an absolute must-play in this matchup. He's hit 8 or more strikeouts in 6 of his last 8 outings, and the Rockies are a high strikeout team against right-handers. Their bottom-tier walk rate also means Skeens will have chances to get ahead in counts and expand the zone. A same-game parlay combining Skeens' 8+ Ks with a Pirates win and O'Neill Cruz to record a hit pays around plus 390, which is strong correlated value. For bettors who like to play team totals, the Pirates, over 4.5 runs is available at plus 100. That might feel aggressive, but considering the matchup against Hudson, it's entirely reasonable. The Rockies' bullpen has a 5.13 ERA on the road, and their middle relief has been overworked in recent weeks. Even if Hudson exits early, there's a good chance Pittsburgh adds on late. For bettors leaning more conservative, taking Pittsburgh to score over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings at plus 115 is another way to attack Hudson's early game struggles. Defensively, Pittsburgh has a major edge. Their TOP 5 in outs above average and have turned the 3rd most double plays in the National League. Colorado, meanwhile, ranks dead last in defensive runs saved and has committed more infield errors than any other team in baseball. This creates added run scoring potential for Pittsburgh via situational hitting, stolen bases, and small ball execution. Speaking of stolen bases, Jared Triolo is a sneaky prop play to record a steal at plus 475. Hudson is slow to the plate, and Rockies catchers have thrown out only 16% of attempted base stealers this season. Weather-wise, conditions look solid for offense. Temperatures in the high 70s with a slight wind blowing out to right center at PNC Park, favorable to Cruz and Reynolds' left-handed bats. The over-under total for this game opened at 8.5, but sharp money is already pushing it toward 9 in some books, showing confidence that runs will be scored. The sharp action early has been all over Pittsburgh on the money line at -180, which suggests market confidence in both Skeens and the Pirates' offensive edge. In terms of a final betting strategy, a same-game parlay of Pirates ML, Skeens 7+ strikeouts, and Cruz to record a hit pays around +275. If you want to get more aggressive, adding Cruz 2+ total bases and Pirates over 4.5 team runs boosts it to around +625. For your safer straight bets, take Skeens over 7.5 strikeouts +105, Cruz over 1.5 total bases +130, and Pirates F5 team total over 2.5 runs +115. The Rockies are too inconsistent on the road, and facing one of the best young arms in baseball on a hot streak spells trouble. Final score prediction: Pirates 6, Rockies 2. Pittsburgh continues to trend up as their young core solidifies, and with Skeens dealing and the bats heating up, they should be in control from start to finish. The betting edge clearly lies with the Pirates' side, and there are plenty of plus money props and SGP legs to build around their advantage. This is one of the sharper spots on the board for August 2nd, so don't overlook it just because of the team names. The value is real. Game 5. Phillies vs. Tigers. Philadelphia hosts Detroit in this interleague showdown, with playoff implications layered in and value lurking for savvy bettors. On the mound for the Tigers is left-hander Tarik Skubal, enjoying an elite season at 10-3 with a sparkling 2.09 ERA and a sterling 0.84 WHIP over 133 innings. He's posted a 13 strikeout complete game shutout in recent weeks and ranks among the AL strikeout leaders, averaging just over 11.5 K9. Opponents are batting just .203 in his last 5 outings, evidence of his dominance when his slider is sharp and fastball locates well. Across from him is Phillies right-hander Zach Wheeler, 9-4 with a 2.56 ERA, 172 strikeouts across 133 innings, a career-high leaderboard in whiffs, and a WHIP of just 0.89. Wheeler has thrown 8 quality starts and has allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in 9 of his last 10. He poses a formidable matchup for a Tigers offense that has struggled to square up power arms consistently. Philadelphia enters with a 61-47 record and one of the most balanced lineups in the National League. Kyle Schwarber leads the team with 37 home runs and is slugging .430 with runners in scoring position. Trey Turner continues his on-base mastery atop the order, hitting .289, .343, .431 and making pitchers pay for fastballs. JT Realmuto remains the glue guy behind the plate with consistent hitting and veteran savvy in late innings. Detroit counters with midsummer momentum. The Tigers are 64-46, riding a 4-game winning streak, and have a rotation anchored by Skubal, Flaherty, and Mize. Gleyber Torres .250 average, 84 runs scored, and Riley Green 26 HR, .277 average, have been delivering power and timing. The Royals' head-to-head splits with NL East opponents have been rough, and they've recently lost 6 of 8 ATS on the road against this division. The moneyline opened with Phillies favored around -155 with Tigers at +127, and advanced betting markets in Australia show Phillies -1.5 priced around $2.35, about -135, while Tigers +1.5 at $1.62 indicates value for Detroit if you anticipate a tighter game. The total sits at 7.5 runs, which reflects the expected dominance of 2 ace-caliber arms. The underline is attractive given both pitchers' recent under-heavy outings. Skubal has posted under in 6 of his last 8, and Wheeler in 7 of his last 10. Sharp bettors are watching for early live totals dips if winds remain calm and starters dominate early. Player prop markets offer solid or sleeper edge angles. Tariq Skubal over 7.5 strikeouts is priced around -110 and seems too low. He's cleared that mark in 5 of his last 6 starts, and the Phillies strike out at a 21.7% rate. On the Philadelphia side, Zach Wheeler over 6.5 kiloseconds is worth a look, given his 11.6 K9 rate and the turnover-heavy lineup Detroit presence. Among bats, Kyle Schwarber anytime home run is offering value at +280 to +320. He's hitting HR every 18 abs in Bermuda scheduled against Skubal, who leaves breaking pitches over the zone. Riley Green over 0.5 home runs +450 could also be a sneaky positive regression play. Realmuto over 1.5 total bases +120 is attractive if he falls behind early and gets into pitcher counts. Team total props offer structured angles too. Phillies team total over 4.5 runs sits around -110 and reflects their home scoring strength, 33-19 at Citizens, particularly when aggressive early batting order pressure triggers Skubal's high pitch counts. Tigers' first 5 innings team total over 2.5 runs at +130 is an alternate target. Detroit averages 1.8 runs through 5 against East Division starters, and their small ball offense can scratch across early. A sharp same-game parlay might include Phillies moneyline, Skubal over 7.5 kiloseconds, and Schwarber to record a home run. Bet that parlay. Depending on book, it hits around +650. For a more conservative parlay, Phillies ML plus under 7.5 runs plus Wheeler over 6.5 kiloseconds comes in near +375. Another pairing could be Tigers plus 1.5 plus Green over 0.5 hour plus over 7.5 runs game as a hedge in case the game becomes back and forth later. The final score projection: Phillies 5, Tigers 3. Skubal and Wheeler exchange zeros early. The Phillies bite back with Schwarber HR and a Turner RBI single. Tigers answer with a Torres bomb and minor late rally, but Philly pulls away with Realmuto double and top bullpen chain. If you want to hedge or squeeze live, check bullpen health after 6 and price value on Tigers plus 1.5 if trailing late. In short, value lies with Phillies ML or -1.5 if lines hold, under 7.5 has edge unless early scoring opens, and props center on Skubal's strikeouts and Schwarber power. Game 6 Nationals vs. Brewers. The showdown between the Washington Nationals and Milwaukee Brewers on August 2 brings together two teams with very different postseason trajectories, but both hungry for results. The Brewers are trying to tighten their grip atop the NL Central, while the Nationals are playing spoiler and auditioning young talent for 2026. This game takes place at American Family Field, a hitter-friendly park where the Brewers have thrived this season, going 31-20 at home. The Nationals, meanwhile, have been better than expected on the road, sitting at 25-27 away from Nationals Park. First pitch is set for 8:10 p.m. ET, and the pitching matchup has a big influence on how we handicap this one. Washington is sending Mackenzie Gore to the mound, their most talented arm and a former top prospect who has made clear strides in his second full season. Gore enters this start with a 6-8 record and a 4.12 ERA, but his underlying metrics suggest even better performance. He owns a 3.52 xFIP and has struck out 122 batters in 109.2 innings, good for a strong 10.0 K9. His fastball-slider combo has been effective against both righties and lefties, and his 27.3% strikeout rate ranks among the top 25 in the league. However, command remains an issue, and his 8.9% walk rate combined with occasional blow-up innings makes him a volatile betting target. On the other side, the Brewers turn to lefty DL Hall, who was acquired in the Corbin Burns deal from Baltimore and has bounced between the rotation and bullpen this year. Hall owns a 2-4 record with a 4.89 ERA over 55.1 innings but has flashed promise in recent starts. He's holding left-handed hitters to a .181 average but has been hit hard by right-handed bats, giving up a .284 average and .487 slugging percentage. Given the Nationals' right-handed heavy lineup, Hall is a potential fade in betting markets, especially for outs recorded and earned runs props. The Brewers' offense has picked up steam over the last 30 days, scoring 4.9 runs per game and hitting 34 home runs in that stretch. William Contreras has been their most consistent bat, slashing .290, .355, .445 with 13 home runs and 56 RBIs. He has also crushed left-handed pitching to the tune of a .305 average and .877 ops. Willie Adames, despite his low batting average, is heating up in the second half and has already eclipsed the 20-homer mark. Bryce Terang has been a quiet contributor with his contact hitting and speed, already stealing 27 bases while batting .270. For the Nationals, C.J. Abrams continues to evolve into a star, hitting .263 with 14 home runs and 32 stolen bases. Lane Thomas and Joey Meneses have provided sporadic power, but the offense as a whole has been average. The Nats rank 23rd in runs per game and have just 93 home runs as a team, second fewest in MLB. However, their speed, fourth in stolen bases, and contact approach make them pesky and capable of stringing together runs. From a betting perspective, this game presents some intriguing value angles. The Brewers open as -160 favorites on the moneyline, with the Nationals around +135. The over-under is set at 8.5, and that number feels right considering the volatility of both starting pitchers. Gore has the strikeout ability to keep Milwaukee in check, but if his command falters, the Brewers can capitalize quickly. Similarly, Hall could get burned by the Nationals' right-handed bats if his control isn't sharp. One of the best plays on the board might be the over 8.5 at -110. With both bullpens showing signs of wear, the Nationals' relievers have a 4.49 ERA in July and the Brewers' bullpen ranks 19th in WHIP. It's reasonable to expect both teams to plate some runs in the middle innings. Strikeout props are also attractive in this matchup. Mackenzie Gore's K prop is set at 6.5, juiced slightly to the over at -120. The Brewers strike out 23.9% of the time versus left-handed pitching, and Gore has cleared this number in 8 of his last 12 starts. This is one of the sharper single-player props on the board. DL Hall's K prop is likely to be around 4.5, which feels risky given the Nationals' bottom 5 strikeout rate in MLB. Fade Hall's over unless you're getting plus money. Total bases props to target include William Contreras over 1.5 at +115 and C.J. Abrams over 1.5 at +130, both of whom match up well against the opposing pitcher splits. Abrams, in particular, has been hot against lefties with a .288 average and .821 ops since July 1. Looking at home run props, the best candidate from the Brewers is Willie Adames, who is seeing the ball well and offers +475 to homer. He's hit 6 home runs in his last 15 games and has a good track record against high-velocity lefties. For Washington, Joey Meneses is a solid dart at +525. He's quietly been one of their better hitters versus left-handed pitching and has shown better power numbers in July. For SGP, same-game parlay value, consider building a conservative 3-leg parlay centered around William Contreras 1+ hit, Mackenzie Gore 6+ strikeouts, and over 7.5 total runs at around +325. If you want to boost the odds further, add C.J. Abrams 1+ total base and Brewers moneyline for a +675 shot. Another betting angle worth considering is the first 5 innings F5 total over 4.5 at -110. With both starters vulnerable to early damage and both teams fielding lineups that can steal bases and manufacture runs, the first half of this game could be higher scoring than expected. The Brewers are averaging 2.7 runs in the first 5 innings in their last 10 games, while the Nationals are averaging 2.3. The F5 over has hit in 7 of Milwaukee's last 10 games and in 6 of Washington's last 8 road games. That's a strong trend to follow, especially with 2 young, inconsistent starters taking the bump. In terms of final prediction, the Brewers have the better bullpen, more dangerous bats, and home field advantage. However, if Gore pitches to his ceiling, this game could easily tilt in the Nationals' favor. The sharper value lies in totals and props rather than picking a side. The official pick here is over 8.5 total runs, Mackenzie Gore over 6.5 strikeouts, and William Contreras over 1.5 total bases. For parlays, consider pairing Brewers' moneyline with Contreras 1+ hit and Abrams 1+ total base for a solid 3-leg play. This is the kind of game where either team could erupt depending on which version of the starters shows up, so targeting player performance and run environment is the safest betting strategy. Game 7. Red Sox vs. Astros. The Boston Red Sox travel to Houston to face the Astros in what promises to be a pivotal clash between 2 American League teams with playoff ambitions. While Boston continues to battle for a wild card spot in the AL East, Houston remains locked in a fierce AL West race, especially with the recent rise of the Mariners and the Rangers putting pressure on them from both sides. Both teams come into this one with urgency, and the pitching matchup along with hitter splits and bullpen fatigue will be central to evaluating value plays and betting angles. On the mound, Brian Bello is expected to start for the Red Sox. Bello, the 25-year-old right-hander, is 9-7 with a 4.39 ERA across 111.2 innings this season. His xFIP sits around 4.05, indicating he's been a bit unlucky, especially with hard contact rates up over 39%. However, he's been significantly better on the road with a 3.85 ERA in away games versus a bloated 4.93 at Fenway. Bello's biggest challenge will be keeping the ball in the park against a Houston team that ranks top 5 in home runs hit at Minute Maid Park this year. Bello allows 8.278 average to lefties and has given up 11 home runs to left-handed hitters in 2024. He'll need to navigate the likes of Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker carefully. The Astros are likely to counter with right-hander Christian Javier, who has had a rocky campaign in 2024. Javier is 7-8 with a 4.89 ERA. But even more concerning is his 5.12 ERA and massive spike in walk rate, now over 11.2%. The Red Sox offense, which has been red-hot post-All-Star break, could feast if Javier continues to struggle with command. Rafael Devers .282, 24 hours, .905 ops, has crushed fastballs and hanging sliders all season and has a strong history against Javier with 2 home runs in 7 at-bats. Also keep an eye on Jarren Duran and Tyler O'Neill, who have combined for 11 extra base hits in the last 8 games. The total for this game opened at 9.0 runs, with early money trending toward the over. Minute Maid Park has been playing more hitter-friendly in the last 30 days, with temperature and humidity aiding in fly ball carry. With 2 inconsistent starters, bullpen usage will also matter here. Boston's bullpen is top 7 in WAR since July 1st, but they've been heavily taxed recently, logging 12.1 innings across their last 3 games. On the flip side, Houston's bullpen has faltered, ranking 23rd in ERA since the All-Star break, and both closer Ryan Presley and setup man Brian Abreu have pitched in 3 of the last 4 games. From a betting perspective, there's value on both sides. The Red Sox ML is sitting around +115, with Astros -135 on most books. Given Javier's inconsistencies, Boston's strong road offense, and Houston's shaky pen, the Red Sox as an underdog carries serious value. However, the best angle might be team total over 4.5 for Boston, especially with lefty bats like Devers and Wilyer Abreu having success against Javier's profile. A ladder bet on Devers 2+ total bases +145, 3+ +370, and our +500 is certainly viable given his recent contact quality and park factor in Houston. For the Astros, Yordan Alvarez is priced around +390 for a home run, which is always live against a ground ball pitcher who struggles with left-handed power bats. Strikeout props are worth evaluating as well. Bello is set at 5.5 strikeouts, with juice to the under -122. Houston has the fourth lowest strikeout rate in MLB against right-handed pitching, making the under here a lean. Javier's number is 4.5, with books shading the over, but Boston is a top 10 team in making contact. A better play might be the under on Javier's outs recorded, set at 16.5 given recent pitch count limitations and Boston's plate discipline. For same-game parlay legs, consider Red Sox moneyline plus Devers 2+ total bases plus over 8.5 total runs. This combo currently returns around +500 on FanDuel and BetMGM. Another more conservative SGP play could include Red Sox alternate team total over 3.5 plus Javier under 6.5 kiloseconds plus Alvarez 1+ hit, which comes in near +320 and offers good safety across multiple outcomes. Live betting might also offer opportunities if either starter is chased early. Boston ranks 4th in comeback wins this year, while Houston leads the AL in scoring runs in the 7th through 9th innings, suggesting second-half overs are worth monitoring. Public money early Tuesday is leaning 61% to the Astros, but sharp money and some betting syndicates have been hitting Boston as the underdog, flipping the line from +130 to +115. The over is getting 64% of the tickets but only 48% of the handle, showing some books are wary of a public overreaction to recent offensive outbursts. Weather-wise, the roof will likely be closed, neutralizing wind but maintaining a controlled hitting environment. Final score prediction: Red Sox 6, Astros 5. Expect a tight, high-scoring game where both bullpens are tested and clutch hitters define the outcome. Best bets are Boston ML +115, Devers to record 2+ total bases +145, game total over 9.0, and a juicy SGP play pairing Red Sox ML plus over 8.5 plus Alvarez 1+ hit for a high upside ticket. Keep an eye on late lineup cards. If Boston rests O'Neill or Masataka Yoshida, recalibrate accordingly. Otherwise, this is a great spot for value hunting, with Boston's bats and a vulnerable Houston staff being the key to unlocking profit. Game 8. Mets vs. Giants. When the New York Mets face off against the San Francisco Giants on August 2, the matchup will feel like a collision of frustration and ambition. On one side, you have the Mets, a team still trying to recalibrate its identity after a tumultuous season full of underachievement, inconsistent pitching, and a lineup that flashes power but fizzles in clutch situations. On the other side, the Giants, not quite the powerhouse of their dynasty years, but gritty, analytical, and still very much alive in the National League wild-card conversation. And that's what gives this game teeth. It's not just another August tilt. It's a statement opportunity, and betting angles are everywhere. Let's start with the pitching matchup. San Francisco is rolling out Logan Webb, the steady right-hander with a bulldog mentality and excellent command. Webb has posted a 3.14 ERA over 139 innings, with a whip under 1.12, and the Giants are 8-3 in his last 11 starts. At home or on the road, Webb remains consistent in his sequencing, relying heavily on his sinker-slider mix, which induces over 54% ground balls. The Mets, by contrast, will likely counter with David Peterson, who owns a 4.89 ERA through 62.2 innings this season. Peterson's main problem has been command. His 1.47 whip and a walk rate over 9.5% makes him vulnerable against teams with patience, and the Giants fit that mold. That alone tips the early pitching edge towards San Francisco. Looking at team-level stats, the Mets are slugging .398 collectively this season, with a team batting average hovering near .241. Their ops against right-handers sits around .709, which is below league average. Pete Alonso remains the heartbeat of this offense, smashing 29 home runs and collecting 72 RBIs to date. But outside of him, power has come in streaks. Brandon Nimmo has been solid in the leadoff spot with a .267, .358, .435 line and 14 hours, but Francisco Lindor's inconsistency, especially with runners in scoring position, continues to weigh this lineup down. The Mets are 4-9 in their last 13 games and 2-6 in games decided by one run in that span. The Giants, meanwhile, don't dazzle statistically but grind out wins. They rank middle of the pack in OBP, .317, and slugging .407, but they've outperformed expectations due to timely hitting and excellent bullpen usage. Michael Conforto and Matt Chapman have quietly contributed big hits, and Thairo Estrada, while not a household name, brings a mix of contact and speed that is dangerous at the bottom of the lineup. San Francisco is 6-2 in extra inning games and 5-1 in their last 6 road contests, which adds confidence to backing them as a road dog or slight favorite. From a betting standpoint, this game opens some interesting doors. The full game moneyline should sit around Giants -120, with the total hovering at 8.5. Logan Webb on the mound, facing a Mets team that struggles with runners in scoring position, hitting .215 in those spots in the past 30 days leans us toward the Giants' ML. First 5 innings F5 under 4.5 is another angle to consider, especially given Webb's early game dominance and the Mets' tendency to start slow. They've scored in the first inning in just 28% of their home games. Peterson, while not elite, has had success against left-heavy lineups, so the first half could be tighter than the final score. Player props add more flavor. Pete Alonso to hit a home run +310 is always on the board given his barrel rate of 14.9% and average exit velocity of 91.8 miles per hour. But we'd also look at Thairo Estrada over 1.5 total bases +145, especially with his hot streak against lefties. He's batting .322 in such matchups since the All-Star break. Brandon Nimmo over 0.5 walks +110 makes sense as a plate discipline prop, especially since Webb pitches to contact and rarely goes deep in counts. Strikeout props lean toward Webb, who's posted at over under 5.5 kiloseconds, and considering the Mets' whiff rate of 24.8%, the over looks enticing. Now let's build a same-game parlay that makes sense for this matchup. Here's a smart 4-leg parlay at long odds. Giants ML, Logan Webb 6+ Ks, Thairo Estrada 1+ hit, and Pete Alonso 1+ total base. This should pay around +750 odds, depending on your sportsbook. You can also build a safer 3-leg version. Giants ML, F5 under 4.5, and Alonso over 0.5 total bases at around +400. These legs aren't just random, they flow with the projected pace of the game and statistical matchups. For the more aggressive bettors looking for a high upside shot, consider this long shot HR parlay. Pete Alonso plus Matt Chapman both to hit home runs, which pays north of +1200. Both hitters have seen success against sinker ball pitchers, and both carry average launch angles above 17 degrees, a good sign when aiming for the fences. Live betting angles will depend on early scoring. If the Mets jump out early, especially if they score off Webb, don't be afraid to live bet the Giants if the number balloons past +150. Their bullpen ERA since July 1 is 3.22, sixth best in MLB, and their ability to rally late makes them a profitable live team. If it's tied or within 1 run heading into the 7th, look for the underdog value to shift, and take it. Final score prediction. Giants 5, Mets 3. The Giants ride Webb's consistency, take advantage of Peterson's control issues, and generate runs via small ball and timely hitting. Alonso may get his solo shot, but beyond that, the Mets' offense continues to sputter. This game offers solid value for sharp bettors who prioritize matchup splits, recent momentum, and bullpen trust. Best bet. Giants moneyline -120. Strong value bet. First 5 innings under 4.5. SGP play. Giants ML plus Webb 6 plus Ks plus Estrada hit plus Alonso 1 plus base. HR prop. Alonso plus 310. Alternate leg parlay. Chapman plus Alonso to go deep plus 1200. This is where the numbers meet the narrative, and this one's shaping up to be all Giants. If you're tired of mainstream predictions and ready to see baseball through a sharper lens, then this is where you belong. Hit that like button if you're chasing value, smash subscribe if you live for deep analysis, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a day of picks. Comment your locks, fades, and wildest parlays below. We're building the sharpest baseball community on YouTube, and it starts right here, right now. This is Beyond the Box Score, and today, we don't just watch the game, we beat it.